biggest news story of the week has to be cryptocurrency and the drop and pop that's happened in literally the last 7 days. We could take it out even further than then. But, I mean, we're talking about just in the last 7 days, folks. You go back to last Monday. From Monday to Monday, we started out Monday around 95K. And very quickly, by the time we got to the middle of the week, really towards the end of the week, we were trading down below 78, around 78,000. Then came Friday, where we had a bit of a rebound, and everything kind of moved sideways into Saturday. And all of a sudden, yesterday, because this is a 7-day market, this is a market that doesn't sleep, it works overtime. It works weekends. It works holidays. It is the best worker on the planet in terms of assets. It never closes. And because of that, you know, and also because of a lot of the products like the ETFs out there that really only trade Monday through Friday, a lot of volatility happens on the weekends, especially when news comes out. And so we had a big news event that happened yesterday that sent the crypto market soaring. So what has happened between 95 to 78, and then, of course, from 78 back to 95, just as quick, if not quicker? Well, here's what's going on. Last week, we saw short selling. We saw short selling take Bitcoin from 95K down to around the 75K and or 78K in about a few days. That's a 25% drop off the all-time highs. Now, to get the all-time highs, you got to go back a ways. But we hit the 108, 109 area. It was around 3 times. We've gone above 100,000 now, 10, 11 times since the first move higher above 100,000 back in November. This week, it was all about outflows, or last week, all about outflows, record outflows, billions of dollars being converted from BTC and crypto, from the crypto community to cash. And a lot of that was short selling. Short selling, in fact, we were looking at this last week. Short selling was at a new record high coming into the end of the week. So what ends up happening that causes Bitcoin to move higher? Guess what? Trump confirms the reserve. And on Sunday, he made 2 announcements. The first announcement was the confirmation of the reserve with a lot of cryptos. And he talked about cryptos in the reserve, including XRP, Ripple, Solana, right? ADA. And then, of course, he says and adds that the U.S. is going to be the crypto capital of the world, and we are making America great again. That made a lot of the coins pop. And then an hour after that tweet, he comes out and follows up and says, and obviously, BTC and Ethereum, as other value cryptocurrencies, will be at the heart of reserve. I do love Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think, this is why these tweets are coming directly from him, because he screwed up and forgot the 2 that brought everything else to the dance, Bitcoin and Ethereum. And he thought, I forgot the 2 biggest ones, and added those to his tweets, right? That is what caused Bitcoin and Ethereum to just run. And if you watched it, and it was yesterday around 12 o'clock, give or take a little bit, we started seeing the running. And what was interesting is that as we thought it was going to be a pop and drop, we saw Bitcoin run up, pull back a little bit, and then really kind of end its day near its highs. That 95K move up caught the shorts off guard, and you saw a lot of physical shorts getting turned around. And I think this morning you're seeing a lot of shorts that were in things like IBIT and a lot of the ETFs turn around and have to do buybacks this morning on the open. Okay, so what is going on with the charts? Here's our chart, and this is the longer-term chart of Bitcoin. You take a look at, this goes all the way back to November, right, when we traded above 75K just after the election. So left-hand side, November, we saw that move back up to around 108. Again, here we are, end of January. This right here, it's interesting because this happens in December. We get to 108. We stab 109, and 109 actually gets stabbed on on Martin Luther King Day, the day that Trump gets inaugurated. Since then, it's just been a move slowly back down to the 95 area. We dropped out. This again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday pushed back up. A little bit of a pullback here coming into the early hours, which is expected. But take a look at all the support you see here for Bitcoin. It's right above the 90, above that 90K area. So that 90K area, 90, 91, 92, those are the areas where you're seeing just a massive amount of support levels. So what has happened? We dropped below that support. We moved back above that support. Now, my two questions are, will this support line finally hold? That's the first question. And number two, when are we going back above not only just 100, but when are we going back to the 108 level and higher? And when are we going to take that out? Okay, that's the questions I want to answer here in the next few minutes. Here's Ethereum. I think Ethereum has a way to go because Ethereum, unlike Bitcoin, did drop below the lows in November. Bitcoin is nowhere near the lows of November. Ethereum has dropped in below those lows, not once, but twice. Right? It didn't make this push lower because it was already down. It did come down to around a 2100 level, moved back above 2526 yesterday, has pulled back again to around the 2350, 24 level. Look at all these points it has to get back to 4K. You got the 61.8% level, which was at 3,000. You got the 31, I have at 38.2% level at near 3,500. There's just so many areas that Ethereum has to topple over to get back to the 4,000 level that we saw back in December. So when you look at the big coins as a whole, and there are only a few of them, there's Bitcoin and then there's everybody else. It's like watching a race, if you like track and field. And it's not, to me, when you look at the longer term charts, it's not who's winning. It's the race for second place because the winner truly is Bitcoin when you look at the long-term scheme of things. Now, in the area of short-term, yes, you've got altcoins that made some serious moves there. But where do we go from here? Take a look at our Bitcoin seasonality table one more time. So we've got potentially moves. These are all 70% moves. Nothing is in 90% or greater here, at least for the next couple weeks. We see the next week continue moves to the upside, maybe some follow through of what happened yesterday. So for the next week, we see follow through what happened yesterday for Bitcoin, and that could happen here between now and say the end of this week to move higher. But then after that, the next week or two, heading into the mid to the third week of March, seasonality goes back to being lower, right? So as February was a negative seasonality for Bitcoin, and it absolutely rang true for the month of February, March is mixed. We see a little bump up higher, and typically that's been short selling when you look at the last 10 years, followed by another pull back. Now, this pull back down here at the bottom, which is in red, that doesn't mean new lows. It just means we tend to be heading lower after the first week of March for the next 2 weeks. So, in summary, for Bitcoin, I believe the drop for the year is likely over. That big push down with those record lows, that should hold. Last week's drop flushed out billions in long positions, but yesterday's news caused a complete reversal, and you had a lot of short covering that started yesterday and is moving into today as well. The seasonality going forward, however, is what I'm interested in, and it's mixed, which means the volatility is not over. So we want to make sure that that as we're picking coins, that we're looking at coins that are on the strong side, because we may have to sit and wait until we get more toward the end of March before now rules-based trading on smaller coins makes a lot of sense. But in the area of Bitcoin stocks and Bitcoin options, to me, it's about looking out past the week, looking out past the month of March, and looking at the volatility and letting the volatility tell me whether I want to be a net buyer of premium or a net seller.